Hello, my name is Mardal Jimenez, and today I will be talking about SDG number 11, sustainable cities and communities. So let's start with a bit of background, some information. The background is well known that around, there's the exact number, 3,500 million people live in cities, but estimate that for 2030 there will be more than 5,000 million. So that's a great increase by the year we're on. That is 10 years. Another example is since 2016, 90% of the people living in the cities breathe air that doesn't fully reach the minimum security levels established by the World Health Organization, and some other information that could be seen. Now, before we start a little bit further, I want to present some of the most sustainable cities around the world that are London, Stockholm, Singapore, and Vienna. So let's start with London. London is well known for its citizens' wellness. What I'm talking about is they have a great level of health, education, and also a low criminality rate. Also, they have low working inequalities. That is something that not many countries in the world can brag about it. It has a strong economy that allows them to face any problem, and an environmental aspect, they're not that good, but they are better than many other cities. Now, Stockholm is the leader when we're talking about environmental aspects, especially in management, because they have a great balance between the economic and environmental aspects, and has ginormous green areas as mentioned here, and the pollution is below the standards since many years ago. Now, Singapore is the top city for economic leadership and economic growth, and it has one of the best platforms for business, connectivity, and a great infrastructure for transport, public transport. And also, Singapore has one of the best system of universities of the world. And finally, Vienna is considered one of the best cities for living in all the world because of thanks to UN Habitat created them as a promising urban core, and because all the aspects needed to consider them. As well as they're working on fully becoming a working smart city for 2015. Smart city is achieved only when reaching many aspects that these cities have, but they have missing some of them. And Vienna is projected to be one of the first ones in the world. But we also have cities that are the less sustainable cities in the world because they have a lot of pollution, a lot of bad organizing, and also a growing that is not measured and wasn't planified before starting the city. An example of this is Nairobi. Nairobi is a city in Kenya that is considered to be one of the most polluted cities around the world. Also, New Delhi is one of the greatest cities in India, but even though it has one of the greatest index of pollution and traffic that you can find around the world. And also Wuhan, as we know, is pretty famous right now because it was when COVID-19 started, but it's also one of the less sustainable cities in the world because of the population, of the pollution, and also their infrastructure, because it's not sustainable at all. Now, there are some aspects for a city to be sustainable that, for example, Vienna, London have, and Nairobi and Wuhan don't. So I will get through some of them, only 6, just to get a little bit understanding why these are the less and those were the most. First one, limited urban growing. When we're talking about limited urban growing, as we see, the cities must establish an urban limit because, as I was mentioning with Wuhan, they have to have a limit. They have to know to where they're growing and how much they can grow without representing a real problem to the environment and to their region. Second aspect, development oriented to traffic, because traffic is one of the greatest aspects in which pollution is increasing, and cities must be construed in a way that to be more efficient and also to reduce the amount of traffic that could be in these cities. Now, green buildings. Green buildings are seen around the world, but in these cities, especially in Stockholm, is one of the cities that has The most green buildings, and green buildings are, those must be a good water energy consumption, because there are buildings that are constructed that maybe they have some from plants or flowers growing out of them, but that it was planned, and also they have a great garbage consumption and management, and also a good water energy consumption. Therefore, renewable energies is one of the most common aspects known, because all these cities must have at least, as they were saying, must be the local renewable energy must be between 5 and 15%. As we're saying, they have to have at least one type of renewable energy near them, or that could help some part of their community. And 5, garbage management. As I was saying, they have to have a good garbage management in order for not to have that pollution added to the city, because they already have a lot of it. And we can see here that between 30 to 50% of their residues must be compostables and 50% recycled, because there's an important thing to reduce the amount of garbage that these cities produce. And 6, finally, efficient water management. Buildings must have water deposits and green areas with low water consumption. We know that water is one of the most valuable aspects, if not the most valuable aspect in our world, and many cities are not valuing it as they should, and that's why an efficient water management is one of the most important aspects. But what can we do? What can all people do in their own cities, even though we're not living on the best cities, the best sustainable cities? What can we do? So, before we get to that, we'll see only 4 of the objectives that this SDG has: 11.2, 11.3, 11.5, and 11.7. The 11.2 says provide access to safe, affordable, accessible, and sustainable transport systems. Is that what we were mentioning, that they have to have a great system of transport that allows them not to have that much traffic. 11.3, enhance inclusive and sustainable urbanization and capacity for participatory, integrated, and sustainable human settlement planning. This is the system of planning, organizing a city in order to be inclusive to any type of people that has any situation that could be different from another. Now, 11.5, significantly reduce the number of deaths and the number of people affected, decrease in economic losses, and water-related disasters. With this is reducing the amount of people that can have any problem when you're talking about economic things, economic aspects, or in this case, water-related diseases, because many cities have polluted water. And 11%, provide universal access to safe, inclusive, and accessible green and public spaces. As we were mentioned, it's important for all the cities to have green areas in order for people to be using them, but also to be sustainable with these green areas. And yes, now we have how to improve our sustainability. Finance the new urban agenda, promote the territorial development, and create resilience to natural disasters and climate change. So, finance the new agenda. Its worldwide are needed around $4.4 million and $1.4 billion to end the economic deficit in urban infrastructure. So it's important not only for the countries or governments to do this, but in our types of on the type of working, or maybe if I'm someone that I'm starting a new enterprise, I must be guaranteeing that I go along with the new agenda in order to reduce all the type of pollution and other things that can be happening. Promote territorial development. Only 1.5% of the lands of the world has half production, and is that many production of the world is concentrated in one part, and we're not using the other parts as to be productive. But when we're productive, we're talking about not to have big polluting machines and big polluting enterprises, no, but to use it as in a responsible way and a sustainable way. And finally, create resilience to natural disasters and climate change. More than 90% of the urban centers are localized in beach zones and invulnerable. What is about this? We know that thanks to the pollution and all the climate change, we're having different types of natural disasters and climate changes. And therefore, we can start fighting against it, but we also have to be prepared against it. So therefore, we need to start thinking about what natural disasters or climate change could happen in our cities or in our countries or territory in order to be prepared to what could happen to us. These are this is more or less the SDG number 11. I could continue on and on, but it will be a little bit of the same. So to end, let's rewind a little bit. We saw what are some background that the importance of this SDG. We saw the most sustainable cities in the world, the less sustainable cities in the world, some of the objectives that this SDG has as sub-objectives, and some aspects that, well, countries, governments, and us people need to take in consideration in order to help this SDG. So I hope you like it and you understand a little bit about this SDG, sustainable cities and communities. Thank you.